The Bordeaux blend is probably the most replicated red wine in the world. However, there are a lot more exciting red wine blends out there, and I think they deliver ridiculous value for money. Here today, we have 8 different wines. All of them are under 39 bucks. All pretty high quality wines on paper. We'll see how they show. The Alsatians and the Germans really made varietal wines a thing. And then as wines started to become popular in New World, places like Australia, New Zealand, America started labeling wines by variety, making it a lot more easy with consumers. And then you have Burgundy, which is synonymous for making great varietal wines out of Pinot Noir or Chardonnay. However, I think blends are much more complex because the winemaker has room to play, has room to really express him or herself. I like in places like Portugal where blends are more prestigious than varietal wines. I guess I'm not going to complain as a wine lover because you can find value as we see here. Let's blind taste. Blind tasting with my Schwarzweisel tasting glass. I really like this glass, a little smaller, still great shape. And when I'm doing tastings with a little bit less wine, since the glass is smaller, there's a bigger wine to glass ratio. I'll put a link in the description box. I like how these are sturdy as well. I'm ready to go to work. It's getting cold out. I got my wannabe winemaker flannel shirt. Maybe I need to put on my vest too. Wannabe winemaker vest, and then I'll really be ready to go to work. Let's see here. It might be too hot, but you know what? For the sake of this video, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, I'm officially a wannabe winemaker. Let's get started. These are 8 different countries here represented. This is not optimally probably why you should do blind tastings. I think blind tastings are useful when you have the same grape or the same region. This is a little bit fun, plus you get to see me screw up on camera because I did know what these wines were beforehand. I just corvined them, had somebody mix them up for me, and maybe I'll just try to guess the grapes or the blends, and you'll see me look like a fool. Let's get started. Wine number 1. These are fairly young wines, just to let you know, so they will change as they start to age depending on the grape variety. 1 is extremely leafy, which I like. Has some green notes along with some blackberry. A little bit of pepper, a little bit of meatiness, but when I first stuck my nose in there, I like some of the greens that you get, kind of like a Cabernet Franc, although it's a lot riper than a Cabernet Franc. Meatiness comes out, kind of reminds me, it might be a Rhone blend, but also those green notes kind of confuse me a little bit. Full-bodied, incredibly smooth. Tannins are not too hard. Tannins are really soft on this. That's a super good start. I'm in for a treat if all the wines are this good. Let's move on to 2. Big blind tasting video. I put this off for a little bit because I was waiting like 6 months for one wine to complete this set. Plus, it's kind of a pain in the ass to arrange big blind tastings, but whatever, I'm doing it for you. Let's go to number 2 here. You know what? 1, maybe is it New World or is it like kind of a Portuguese wine because it's round? Number 2, this definitely smells meaty. Very meaty. Like red rare meat, some of a baked strawberry type aroma. A little bit of violets. That's pretty good. Really, to me, has a lot of Rhone characteristics. But then again, I'm probably going to look like a fool. Let's move on to 3. Digging the tasting so far. Number 3. 3 definitely has some development, some bottle patina on it. Not in a bad way, but it is developed. So I don't know how old or the oldest wine I have here is. I definitely get some dried plum. Some kind of like a raspberry strawberry jam component. A little bit of pepper. That bottle patina is starting to wear off as I shake it in the glass. Sometimes if you find that wines are a little bit musty, or if they're aged or not, just shake them out a little bit. The finish is actually really good. There's some tougher tannins here. I love the spine of acidity here. Man, when I first smelled that wine, I was like, uh-oh, but then it turned out to be pretty good. Let's move on to 4. 4, I pick up a little bit of wood. This is kind of more like a traditional wine, a little bit of VA in a good way. This smells good. Black fruits. It has like this purple fruit roll-up flavor that I really like. Oh, this has got character, man. This has got acidity, medium-bodied, it's slender. This, to me, it doesn't have the tough tannins, but it's got this traditional balsamic note that sometimes reminds me of some traditional Tuscan wines that I really like. Not everybody's gonna like this wine. I really like it a lot. A lot. These red blends are just so enjoyable. Really good. Let's move on to wine number 5 here. I'm liking the tasting so far. 5, a little bit tight, a little bit dark fruit. This is more black cherry. This is really, really tight. It's not showing its best right now. I think this will unfurl, but I get a little bit of violets, black fruit, black pepper. Maybe this has a lot of Syrah in it. This has really tough, chewy tannins. I feel like this wine is really good, and with some aging in the bottle, it's really going to unfurl. At first, I didn't think the nose was expressive, but I like the full body mouthfeel and the chewy tannins and the pepperiness. I'd be interested if that's a Syrah blend. Man, I'm really liking the tannin. Syrah is just, I think it's got Syrah in it. Syrah is this grape that you really just start to crave if you really like it. I was talking to a local distributor, and he was talking about, when I fell in love with Syrah, I wanted to get everybody turned on to Syrah, and then I realized not everybody likes that. It's unfortunate. It's a problem that us wine geeks have. Let's move on to number 6. 6 smells very friendly right out of the gate. Man, with young wines, it's just so hard to tell what they are. Black fruit, black plum. It's not peppery at all. It's just like kind of like a fruit compote. Like, it's got ripe fruit flavors, but it's not jammy per se. It has maybe a little bit of dried lavender as well. Big time tannins. I mean, this really coats the mouth. This is a wine, number 6, where it's really good, but I just kind of don't know what blend it is. I have no idea what it is. No idea whatsoever. It's good wine, though. Let's move on to number 7 here. These are fun blind tastings because, again, I have no dog in the race. I'm excited to see what they are. Just some really unique wines here. Let's go on to 7 here. 7. Oh, 7 is smoky. It's got some bacon fat. It's got some sour cherry. It's almost a little Burgundian, so to speak, like a Côte de Nuit, like got some darker fruit, yet it's got some earthiness with the sour cherry. The most slender out of the bunch. I love the smokiness. I love the nuance here. I think this is outstanding. I'm telling you, 7 really has a Côte de Nuit type of feel. That's a good wine. Let's move on to 8. I'm excited to see what that is. Wine number 8 here. 8 has the most wood out of all of them. 4, I picked up the wood right away, and 8 has a little bit more. It's not overly oaky, but you definitely pick it up. I definitely get some mocha, some chocolate, black plums, black cherry, black raspberry. Got even a little bit of a tangerine peel. There are so many aromas in a glass of wine. There are over 1,000 volatile compounds, different aromas in a glass of complex wine. We probably consciously can only pick up 30 to 50 at a time. That's why flavors are always changing. That's why our descriptors are always changing. This has got a lot of wood, but man, is this smooth. This is just a smooth, friendly wine. This reminds me of some of these well-made, just well-balanced South American red blends, which is fine for me. I'm going to reveal these bad boys, and we'll talk about the blends. You ready? If you want to hang out with me and other wine geeks, check out channel memberships in the 2nd tier, the Grand Reserve tier. I've organized a monthly live hangout tasting where you can come up on screen, hang out, share your wines. We can just talk shop. I've also launched a live video podcast. Members of the Grand Reserve tier can come up on screen and ask a question, call in like a live radio show, and it helps support the work I do here, so thank you. Okay, the work's all done. I gotta take off the wannabe winemaking vest because it's down and now it's getting a little bit hot. Okay, and now let's have some fun here. The thing about these red wine blends, especially young wines, they're all pretty close because they're all pretty good. There are subtle nuances, but it was a bit different than I expected, which I was excited about. Let's start out here. Let's go out with wine number 6. I thought it had dried lavender. It was round, good wine. I had no idea what it was. The dried lavender really stuck out. Besides that, it had kind of like the same dark fruit type flavors that you see in a lot of wines. I gave it 91 points. I think it's excellent. I think it's a wine that will come around with age. I'm excited to take a look at this. Let's see, 91 points. Here we go. So, This is a wine that is tight. It's 2022. Will come around in time. This is from Tuscany. This is the Argentiera Poggio I Ginepri 2022 from Tenuta, Argentiera. This is like their second or third wine. A blend of Cabernet Sauvignon and Syrah. This comes in at 34 bucks. Their flagship wine is a Super Tuscan Bordeaux blend, which I'm a big fan of. I think Cabernet Sauvignon and Syrah is such a great blend. You'll see it in Australia. You'll see it sometimes in the south of France, sometimes at Washington State. No, when you have a warmer region, you have the seriousness, the tannin, the acidity that Cabernet Sauvignon brings, and in warmer weather, that Syrah brings that lush fruit flavor that's different than Merlot. I think this is worth checking out at 34 bucks, but I don't think this is ready to drink. I think this is going to be much, much better with time in the bottle. Number 5 had black fruit flavors and pepper, long, tough, chewy tannins. I did think that there was some Syrah in this blend, although I messed up. Well, who knows? I think they have a few that have Syrah. 91 plus points. It had these chewy tannins that I get out of Croz's Hermitage, which I really liked. Let's hear 91 plus points. Let's take a look here. Wow. This is nothing to do with Syrah. This is the Saint Andrea Merengö. This is a Bikaver, a bull's blood from Egri in Hungary. 2021's Egri Bikaver Superior. Bull's blood, 39 bucks. This is a blend of Keck Frankish, also known as Blau Frankish, Cabernet Franc, Merlot, Pinot Noir. Oh, and Syrah. So there is some Syrah in this. I am really surprised. St. Andrea is one of the best producers of red wines in Hungary. Some of their wines can be extremely Burgundian. Bikaver, bull's blood. There's a legend that when the Ottomans invaded, the locals got drunk because they were a little bit scared. They were outnumbered. Their eyes were all bloodshot. They ran down and scared away the Ottomans. The Ottomans ran back to the commander and said, I don't know what's up with the locals. I think they're drinking bull's blood. If that legend's true or not, who knows? I do know that Bikaver's bull's blood used to be known in the UK, especially in the 80s of 90s, as cheap, thin wine that was not very exciting. The new generation of winemakers in Hungary are making excellent Bikavers like we see here, 91 plus points, 39 bucks. I think this is outstanding, and anything from a thin wine. This is a rich wine. I really liked it a lot, but I'm surprised. I thought usually their wines are a little, kind of, to me, act more Burgundian, but that's still a hell of a wine. Let's move on. I've got two tied for 92 points. Let's go back here. Number 2, baked strawberry meat flavors. I thought 1 at first might be a GSM type of wine, but then I switched and I thought maybe this 2 might be the GSM baked strawberry meaty flavors. 92 points. It did really act like a wine out of the Southern Rhone to me. Let's take a look. 92 points. It does have Rhone grapes in it, but it's not from the Southern Rhone, and this is delicious. This is the Markus Wine Company. This is the Domo from Lodi, California. 75% Carignan, 25% Syrah. This comes in at 39 bucks. Markus is a fantastic, one of the really good producers in Lodi. Lodi used to be known as a region making bulk wines, but there are new producers that are doing outstanding stuff. Markus is one of them. I think that is delicious, and I love Old Vine Carignan. It's just a grape variety that does better when the vines are old, and it really brings some unique flavors. I thought it was a Rhone GSM, big strawberry. That's what you're going to get out of these Old Vine Carignan. 92 points. Really nice wine. That wine was tied with number 8, which is Wood Smooth. Remember, it was the oakiest one I said. Smooth really reminded me of a South American blend. Let's see, 92 points. Is it South American? Just really reminded me of that style. It is not. This is a heck of a wine. This is from Moldova, one of the best wines. So funny, I gave this wine, I think, the first time I ever tasted, this was like the 16. I think I gave it 92 plus, not blind. This is the Carpe Diem Bad Boys 2019. This is a blend of Saperavi, dark-skinned, dark flesh grape from Georgia, and Fetesca Negra, very interesting grape from Romania, Moldova. Can be peppery, have a lot of incense flavors. He puts a little more low Cabernet Sauvignon in it. This comes in at 28 bucks, range, in Moldova I think it's a little cheaper. Other parts of Europe it's around 28 bucks. I think this is outstanding, delicious, smooth. And the 2018 was one of the most memorable wines I've tasted this year, and I'll explain why. I just came back from South Korea where I was judging the Asia Wine Trophy, and one of the seminars we did a blind tasting of wines from Moldova versus Bordeaux Grand Cru. One of the organizers organized it because he loves Eastern European wines like me, and There was a flight of 5 at the end, and there was a Château Lafon Rocher and a Château Telbeau mixed in with a few Moldovan wines. My favorite was the Lafon Rocher, but majority picked the Bad Boys 2018 as their favorite wine. I can see why. It's an outstanding wine. Moldova, the wine quality is just rising exponentially. I haven't been there since 2019. I got to get back there soon, but I have been keeping up and tasting the new vintages. They keep getting better and better and better, as we see here. I thought it was a well done South American wine. Really nice stuff. Let's go on to wine number 3. Developed. It was jammy. When I shook it out, though, I really liked the tannin quality. At first, it was the wine when I tasted it. I was like, uh-oh, it might be a little bit too over the hill, too developed. But as I shook it out with time, I really liked it. I liked the spine of the city at the end. 92 plus points. I thought it was very good. Let's take a look here. I'm excited to see. Is it developed? I am from Portugal. This is the Vale de Mata Vino Regional Lisboa 2022. Wow, $28. This is a blend of Tinta Roriz and Touriga Nacional. Tinta Roriz is also known as Tempranillo, also goes by Oregonez in Portugal. This is made by the team at Rosim, really good producer in the Alentejo. And it's so funny, Lisboa, which surrounds Lisbon, a lot of winemakers tell me that's the region to really look out for because the temperature, the climate is perfect for both white and reds. This comes in at $28. I thought it was very good. Again, surprised it was a little bit developed, but again, that shook off with time. Could be some bottle variation, but the end, I still liked it. The tannins were fine. I had no idea what that was. Touriga Nacional is one of Portugal's signature varieties. Small berried, almost Cabernet Sauvignon-y, high acidity, high tannins. Although Portugal's really hanging its hat on Touriga Nacional, I really like Touriga Franca, especially when I go to the country and I'm tasting from the barrel. Touriga Franca is often blended, but when I smell the wines, I'm like, man, these need to be bottled varietally. You do see some Touriga Nacional varietal labeled wines in Portugal, but in general, it's blended. I know it's a tough grape in the vineyard. Let's start out with wine 1. At first, I thought it was a GSM. Then I was like, maybe it's Portuguese full-bodied round GSMs. But it had those Cabernet Franc greens. Remember I talked about that I really liked? 93 points. I thought it was very good. Let's take a look. GSM with Cabernet Franc stuff. I should have picked up the greens because it says Carmenere in it. This is from South America. This is the Ventisquero Vertice. This is from Chile, 2020, a blend of Carmenere and Syrah, $32. Well, you have some, I guess I was right. So I have the Syrah, the roanness, I have the Carmenere, the leafiness you get out of Cabernet Franc. Carmenere is a grape originally from Bordeaux, kind of fallen out of fashion. Not too many producers are doing it. It's now one of Chile's signature varieties, but in the up until the 90s, they thought it was just Merlot until they figured it out. Carmenere, when it's unripe, can be pretty green, which I like because I like Cabernet Franc. This is a revelation for me, coming in at $32. I thought it might be okay. I think this is very good wine. I mean, as you can see, I gave it 93 points at $32. Syrah Carmenere, what do you know? Let me move these all in so we can get all of them in the shot here. The top 2 wines, which were very, very, very close. I have to tell you right now, some of these other wines I think people might think are better wines. These are just wines that spoke to me. It's my style. And, you know, scores are not the end-all, be-all. It's a snapshot of a moment in time. They may change. They would change maybe if we taste them again. I just use scores as a reference point when I'm doing these blind tastings so I can establish a hierarchy. So you got to go out and taste. Don't listen to scores as gospel. Number 4, medium-bodied, more traditional, had some VA, has some wood, really remind me of a traditional Tuscan style wine. I like this style wine. This is going to turn off a lot of people. Some people are sensitive to those vinegar flavors. Since there is volatility, there is VA there. Some people, I say it's too vinegary. I love this. 93 plus points. I like the nuances here. This is from Priorat. This is the Ona Priorat 2019 from Catalonia in Spain. This is very inexpensive, $23. This is 40% Garnacha, 40% Syrah, 20% Carignan. This is made by one of my friends who imports Catalonian wines into the USA. She lives from Michigan. She is from Catalonia. Ona is the name of her daughter. This is because Priorats are not cheap. I think this, I don't know if it's nationally distributed. I know in Michigan you'll see it. $23, this is killer wine. I think this is stainless steel only, Priorat is one of those regions that is just insanely beautiful. When you go there, it feels like Jurassic Park. It feels like you're lost in time. I don't even know how the Romans and then the monks climbed up into those slaty hills way in the middle of nowhere to make wine. Incredibly remote. This is delicious, and it's impossible to get a Priorat at that price point. Wowzers. Number 7, smoky nuances. I thought it was Burgundian. I know what's left. And it's a grape that kind of can act like Burgundy sometimes. I gave this a whopping 94 points. And this is a wine I know that you can get readily available. Look what this is. This is the Château de Saint-Côme Gigondas 2021. This comes in at $55. This is Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre with Cinsault. Grenache is the grape in the Southern Rhone behind the great wines of Châteauneuf-du-Pape. Gigondas, which is right next door. It can act very Burgundian when it's done well. And I'm 15.5 alcohol, and this was incredibly balanced. Sometimes the wines in the Southern Rhone, you might look at the alcohol and say, uh-oh. But you know what? They are balanced. It was not, I told you, it was more medium-bodied. With the prices of Châteauneuf rising, a lot of people are moving to Gigondas. Gigondas can have some vineyards that are higher, so sometimes there's more freshness in the wines, although 15.5 alcohol. I think this was outstanding, and everything that Château Saint-Côme does is very good. And I'm going to be in Gigondas and Châteauneuf-du-Pape next year, so I'm pretty excited about that. So tell me, do you like red wine blends? What's your favorite red wine blend or country? Have you tasted any of these wines before? I'd love to hear. Drop it in the comments below.